Hello, hello, most beautiful stars. Hello, hello. Happy New Year. Welcome into 2026. I am Courtney, host of Stars of the Morning Light, and I'm glad to be with you this evening. It is 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I tried to do this early enough to avoid doing it during the fireworks, but I think people have already started. So if the dog starts barking, I apologize, folks. All right, beloveds. The Akashic Records reading for 2026 is already out. I did that last Friday. It is in the description below. If you want to go hear what the Akashic has to say, we went through it. I read it, then we went through bit by bit, then I read it again, and it is in the description below. So please, they know better than I, right? Their take, though, was very much it was a most beautiful message, and it's actually a timeless message in my opinion. But their take was very much about self, love yourself, choose yourself entirely, with a bunch of other little perks to it. This tonight is going to be more so, what do I think? What does Courtney think of 2026? I might speak a bit in metaphors at times that I might not break down. Um, and we're just going to go through with it. And I'm going to leave you all with a riddle at the end. A riddle you're going to have to solve. Are you good at riddles? I don't know. I personally, I'm not that good at them. But I'm going to leave you with this riddle, and I will give the answer whenever the next hangout time with Courtney is. I'm doing that, to have fun, have that brain going. Let's think on something, let's chew on something. But also, a lot of the subscribers here, beloveds, November and December was very wonky for me as far as like I was going to be here, then I'm not here, then this and that. So a lot of the bells need to be rerung. Please ring my bell, especially if you are a subscriber here and you're used to seeing my stuff come through your feed and it's not being seen anymore. I have been around. So please double check that you rung my bell. Yay. Ooh, bells on New Year's. Yes. All right. And I see that Lori came in. Good to see you, beloved. Um, wow. Before we get into actually my view on 2026, and we're going to cover aspects, a lot of people want to talk about the reset, the great reset. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the weather. We're definitely going to talk about the weather. And some other stuff pertaining to the illusion, right? So, before we get into it, I want to say in 2026, for myself, the host of Stars of the Morning Light, I know the year ahead of me, I'm going to need to be flexible with myself and others. I'm going to need to be compassionate with myself and others. So, with that being said, that's why I need you to ring my bell, because I might not be able to stay on any kind of given schedule. I'm really designing a whole new scope for myself and how I live, because I have to kind of return to some stuff and develop some new stuff. So pay attention for when shows appear, either live or recorded, what have you, and I will get back to the monthly Akashic Records readings, but not until February. All right, beloveds. Okay, so this was interesting. Everybody now is starting to use these AI, chat GPT, what have you, AI, and they're like communicating with it, and then they're recording themselves communicating with it so we can hear the answers. And I caught a short last night that I was like, right on. The questions this kid was asking were good questions. And one of his questions was the time period that we're living right now, and he's asking AI, the time period that we're living right now, when is it when in history is it the most similar to? Some way he asked that in some shape and form. And AI said 1453. So then the kid had to look up, whoa, what was what was going on in 1453? And the biggest thing that happened was, quote unquote, the fall of Constantinople. So that kind of threw this kid off. And I went, okay, right on. I'm going to listen to what else this kid asks, right? And it's a great little short. I did post it on my Facebook page. So start following me on social media because sometimes I will reference what is definitely either on Facebook or Instagram. So let's talk about this concept of like a fall or a great reset. People have been in love with that term for a few years now. I see that Earth Elements came in. Good to see you, my dear. And yes, beloveds, if you're watching this later, I am live. So therefore, I do say hello to people in the chat when they come in because we're a community here. People, I mean, I've been hearing the term the Great Reset, reset, reset. I mean, honestly, if the world wasn't going to end in 20 in what was it, 2012, the Mayan calendar. Once the world didn't end then, well, then it became, oh, well, then we must be going towards, or it's going to happen, this great big reset. And as we've gone through, and especially the past few years, wow, people love that term. So I want to talk to you. eh, Let's talk about a bridge. Let's talk about bridge, just a big, huge bridge, right? Let's think about our society, especially here in the States. But everything is connected. I did a video, a short one. I'm sure it was a crazy rant to most, but everything is connected. And the States is connected to the UK, to, South America, all the continents, all the countries, we're all connected. So let's talk about a bridge and imagine that, and at least I'll talk mostly about maybe the States here to kind of bring it more into scope because a lot of my viewers here are from the States. Let's say America is just one big bridge and we travel this bridge. We're on this bridge, we walk this bridge, we bike this bridge, we drive our car back and forth on it all the time to work. We are on this bridge together, right? And over time, we might see, oh man, there's some corrosion over there. You might see some workers kind of fumbly doing some work. You might see repairs here, but not over there. You might see bolts being removed here or bolts kind of being shoddily put in there. You might see things here and there. This bridge needs help. This bridge is not looking the best. But do we necessarily do anything about it? No, because we're just traveling this bridge. And once we get over to the other side, we forget about the bridge. We very quickly forget about the bridge. As we're coming upon the bridge, it's like, oh man, how's the bridge today? How's the potholes on this bridge? How's the beams on this bridge? How's all the bolts on this bridge? Well, as we're coming upon it, we have these thoughts. And then once we get over the bridge, we're on to whole new thoughts. But yet that bridge is still there. And everybody else is still traveling it. But we don't think that way because, well, we got through it. We're over it. Until that bridge collapses. Until that bridge collapses. And then everybody has some words. Oh, I knew it was gonna fall. I knew it was gonna fall. I've been driving that bridge for years, and it's been getting worse and worse, and no one's done anything about it. And it's this huge calamity. Look at the devastation. Look at how much it's gonna be to have to repair the bridge, to put the bridge back in place or design a whole new bridge. Where are we gonna get the funding for that? Where are we gonna get the know-how for that? What's got Does anybody actually even care? I knew it was gonna fall. Yeah, I did. I did. Right? That is that we all can understand that scenario. And this great reset that people are talking about, they speak about in this form of, some big calamity. The bridge fell. When all the while, beloveds, in my mind, I can trace so many connecting dots. I mean, just on any given morning inside of my mind, I can start tracing dots as to how shoddy that bridge is. I mean, just in my own mind, not even doing any research or anything. All the little dots, all the little bolts that are actually connected, probably back to at least like Lyndon Johnson, that this system, this bridge, it's kind of rigged to not work out. It's kind of rigged that if nobody's paying attention, it will fall. It's kind of rigged that if we just keep passing and going 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 and going, and on the other side of that going, we forget, well, it's going to fall. It's going to fall. So then I have to wonder, well, whose responsibility is it anyways? Right? We all do that. We always like to say, well, it's that person's it's the engineer, it's the government, it's the city employees, it's this, it's that. When everybody's been driving on the same bridge. So when people talk about the Great Reset, because we're going to hear more of it probably by, oh my gosh, definitely by mid to end summer of 2026, people are going to start talking about the reset again. The reset. It's been in effect. It's been in effect this entire time. This entire time. And so I have to ask, whose responsibility is it to either stop it or to take personal responsibility of their own set, their own travel plans, their own way to work? I hope everybody can follow what I'm referring to this bridge as, right? Referring to this bridge as. So it was interesting that the AI said that the time period that we're living in right now is exactly like the time period of the fall of Constantinople. Because if you know anything about Constantinople, that was not just one fall. That was definitely not just one fall. That was not just one big event. And now there goes Constantinople. There was a whole lot that led into that. A whole lot. And it's people. I mean, it was one of the biggest territories ever, biggest place. I mean, biggest, powerful, powerful. Just keep going. Just kept going. Just kept going. They too were a bridge. So I see that Lucky Stone 888 came in. Good to see you, sir. Happy New Year. Um, and I Infinity. Good to see you, my dear. Happy New Year. Yeah. Yeah, infinity, it's definitely, it's everybody's. We travel this bridge together. We travel this bridge together, and so I'm starting with this because I saw that, short last night that the kid did, and it is on my like I said, it's somewhere on my feed and definitely Facebook. He asked some great questions. So please, and I just don't remember all of them. Um, but he started with that, and I went right on. Like, when I heard AI respond with that of right now, what we're experiencing is similar to the fall of Constantinople, I went, yes, it is. Yes, it is AI. Hmm. Okay. I wonder if people, it's like we're aware of it. We're aware of it. But man, we just keep driving that bridge. And when we get on the other side, we tend to forget. And every day we do that. Every day we do that. Every day we forget what happened 2 days ago. We forget what we saw on the bridge, the feelings that we had on that bridge, the questions we had, "What should I do about this? Do I call about this? Do I do something about this? Should I start thinking about a different route? How would I create that route? How would I do that route? What would that take me to build and design a whole new route to take if this were to fall?" And so that kinda leads me into this other thing. It's wild. I was thinking about this and I wanted to do a short and then I stopped myself because I went, "That's not a short, Courtney. That's gonna be a little bit too long." We're heading into a time, the next 2 years, definitely. 2026 through 2028. Um, uh, an immense interesting time that we should hopefully, I should say hopefully, right? Do as you wish. We can, and it's an opportunity to actually feel very excited and elated and enthusiastic about this time period. It completely, because maybe we're tired of driving the same damn bridge. But at the same time, so much is gonna be happening. So much is going on that it could take these beautiful feelings that are full of hope and enthusiasm and turn it into, "Oh, I'm exhausted. Oh, what did I want to do this year? What was my goal? What's going on?" It is the year of the, fire horse in Chinese tradition. And beloveds, I follow a whole for New Year's, I follow more of actually Chinese traditions. I don't consider that New Year's technically really starts until towards the end of January, beginning of February. There's different holidays at that time period to represent, for me personally, speaking for myself, when the new year actually starts. January always to me is that it's that quiet stage. It's the time to, as the world is dark, especially in the northern hemisphere, when the world is dark, well, you go inside. And you go inside your home and you go inside yourself. And you really get truthful with yourself. I do. I get very truthful with myself. Instead of setting the goals that are shiny, pretty, and what I want, I get real intimate with myself, real honest with myself, and go, wow, that's what I need. I need to heal that. I need to focus on this. I need to organize that, whatever it may be. That's for me what the month of January is. And then the energies don't really start shifting for us to start even slowly the prep. for that until about the beginning of February. Hence why I'm not going to even do a monthly Akashic or zodiac readings until February. There's no big reason to, because energies won't really shift into 2026 until that. But it doesn't mean that this is just a pocket of time to not use. This is my actually I love January. I love it for that. I love the introspection of going in deep and really looking at what do I need. But that's because I'm full of a ton of Scorpio and Scorpio energy. That's what they do. And that's their comfort zone is going into all the dark inside. I'm bringing that up because we are at a time period that our systems of operation, our hierarchies, our dogmas, our paradigms, our social norms, all of these things, they already started to crumble. They already started to crumble. And we're headed into a time of not just seeing them crumble away, these 3D illusions, they're not just going to be crumbling away. At the same time, they're going to be rewritten or represented, reestablished, and or just completely gone. And so because creation is morphing, creation is changing, and you are the ultimate creator, now is the time that, especially 2026 beloveds, I'm really trying to emphasize this. When you see all those different bolts on that bridge, whoa, that just fell away. I literally saw it fall into the water. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. This bridge doesn't even feel the same anymore. It rides wobbly. Whoa. When you start to really notice that, is the time to ask yourself, what am I willing? What am I willing? What am I willing? And what I mean by that is, even if new doctrines, new laws, new dogmas, new hierarchies, new all sorts of stuff tries to be written, tries to be established, tries to be all these things, tries to present itself. You can accept it as it is. It's a part of a system, but acceptance does not mean compliance. You can just accept, yep, it's there. I heard what you said. I see what you do. You do you. It does not mean that you have to comply. It does not mean that you have to go with the new hierarchies, that you have to go with these new standards. And so in January is a really good opportunity to get to a core of you. I mean, really sit with, what are my values? What do I care about the most? What are my morals? Because in 2026, there's going to be things presented that it's like, whoa, I see you. I personally, I'm not going to jive with it. If it doesn't if it doesn't resonate with me, then I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And here's the thing, because everything's crumbling away, all these bolts are falling off this bridge, and it's not going to get fixed in anytime soon. By the time, you know, real things start to happen, is an opportunity to really stand within your authenticity, your authority, and say, "Yep, I'm not doing it. I figured out a whole different route to take. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. I you guys do you. Whatever you're gonna do, whatever you want. I'm gonna take this route. I'm gonna do this. You have fun with your bridge." January is such an opportunity to figure that out. To at least or have the basis, I should say, the basis that when it appears and it shows up and it pops up in 2026, you can just say, "Okay, nope, not for me, but you can do it." Because you are a creator in the midst as well. You're not a victim. Not at all. I also wanna put in there in 2026 at Stars of the Morning Light here, a lot of stuff I am going to be covering, and that's why, uh, shows might be sometimes I'm live, sometimes I'm not, sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm not. I'm going to be covering a lot about victim mentality. And the reason I'm going to be doing that is A, to help people through the crumbling. So when things do fall, they can stand. And I started really working on any residual victim mentality that I had, because we all have it. Um, More so, I think 3 years ago, I kind of became very aware. Like, oh, this is still pretty ingrained. Okay. And then within that year, by the end of that year, it was like, no, this has to be a focus of mine. A focus to notice what I'm noticing, notice my thought patterns, notice my reactions, notice everything within and around that is associated with victim mentality, victimhood, right? And many of you don't know, that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing in the background. Um, it is the little nuances of it, the it's so insidious and it is so ingrained into everything. All of our speech, all of our writing, all of our thoughts, patterns, habits, behaviors with one another, self to self, all of it. And I said for at least a lot this past year that 3D is the land of judgment, right? Very much so the land of judgment. And that judgment is what keeps the victim mentality going, right? So in 2026, we're going to be talking about all these little nuances, all these little things, all these little threads that we're not it's so hard to even be aware of because they've been in play for so long. But you know what? If everything's crumbling, why won't that let's just crumble that shit too, right? Let's just let it fall away. But we have to notice it first. We have to notice it. And we got to notice it many a times over before then we can go, I see you. I'm not doing you. I'm done. Right? And we change it. Same with noticing all these little bolts falling off this bridge, crumbling away, the corrosion, the lackluster of work, the weak beams. We have to notice, and then even when we get on the other side of that, we have to care enough to remember. We have to care enough to remember because we're probably going to do it again. And before we even get on the possibility of doing it again, We stop and we go, wait a minute. I designed a whole different route. I know a whole different way to go. I don't have to participate. I don't have to comply. I don't have to agree. I don't have to continue doing what no longer applies because everything is crumbling away. Great opportunity, great opportunity to create completely anew. So that was a long way for me to get to a very big aspect that I said I was going to hopefully do a short about, but I decided I'm just going to do it here. Uh, some of you know, I have a tattoo right here on my wrist. And it says know thyself. And it was one of the first things I tattooed on myself, and it's right there. So every time I used my right hand, which I'm right-handed, I would notice it. Know thyself. Know thyself. Know thyself. And beloveds, how hard is that to truly know ourselves when we're immersed inside of an illusion, inside of that world of judgment? How can you fully know yourself when it's inside of a world of judgment? So therefore, everything you try to hold up about who you are and find out about who you are meets friction, meets a wall, meets everything because of judgment. And because of that, I'm a victim. It is so hard. And that is really, in a lot of ways, the full concept of at least the first Matrix movie is how do you know thyself, which was what was written in Latin over the doorway of the oracle, by the way, just jogging people's memories. Know thyself. How do we do that within an illusion? The illusion of control, the illusion of judgment, the illusion of fear, worry, doubt, hesitancy, jealousy, greed. How do we find ourselves in that? Because I'm going to tell you right now, beautiful, that's not you. That's not you. That is not you. That's that. That's not you. So when I say that this is a time period that we could rejoice in and be so excited about, is because when all of that stuff crumbles away and we start to acknowledge that we have choice in what we are willing, right, to do, not do, walk on, ride on, communicate with, all of it, willing, when we have a choice in that, every single one of those choices is who you are. It's beautiful when you see, whoa, that's crumbling, or you see, whoa, that's an illusion. That's a form of judgment. How do I choose? 2026 is going to be full of those and that nonstop. So the greatest thing, but it's going to go fast though. Let's not forget once we're on the other side of that bridge every day, it's going to go very fast, but it's going to be repeated opportunities for you to choose based on your willingness. Willingness to choose however you want. And that's how we can start breaking from the illusion and learn who we really are, opposed to the judgments, opposed to who we even have presented ourselves as for uh, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. What does it matter who you've presented yourself as? What you've obtained in life, what you have gained and lost and gained and lost and gained and lost. What does that matter when everything's crumbling away? What None of that matters. When I used to teach, I would tell my students constantly that your past does not define who you are. How you choose in the moment does. And isn't it beautiful that life is a series of moments? And within all of those moments, we get to have the opportunity to choose our authentic self, even if we don't know who the hell that is. 2026 gifts us that. It's the greatest gift. It's a wonderful gift to start to actually know thyself outside of the illusion. Oh, beautiful, magical, wonderful, still a choice. Still a choice. So, old illusions crumbling away, new illusions being presented and trying to be written and trying to establish themselves. You see them. You see how that bolt doesn't fit on that bridge? You see how that's never going to hold up that beam? You see it. Maybe take a different route, right? I'm very excited. I'm excited for the opportunity for everyone to actually really to be who they are. To just be who they are. Because we're in that flux of when old is crumbling away and new is trying to establish itself, the opportunity for all of us humans to just be as we are, who we are, our authentic self, free from the fear of judgment, free from the fear of lack, rejection, hopefully free from survival. It was interesting. I was having a conversation with someone, I don't know, 2 weeks ago now, and they were asking me about, this relationship in their life that kinda keeps coming in and out, and how they feel about this person when they're with this person, and how they feel about themselves when they're with this person. And through this conversation, we kinda ended with how they feel about themselves when they're, with this person or they just left this person, how they feel about themselves. And their answer was that they feel more like their complete self when they're with this person or just left this person in their car. They have this sense of feeling completely themselves, seen, heard, acknowledged. They can be their quirky, whatever human they are. And they were asking me about this relationship, and it was during a reading. And so they kept saying, but this is not, we keep kind of going back and forth, and this does not seem to ever go anywhere as far as like strong commitment. Is this a commitment thing? And within the reading, we got to, no, it's not for that. And that I want to emphasize that most, well, all. soul contracts. Sorry. I almost said most, and I'm gonna strict that from the record. Strict the word most. All soul contracts. All soul contracts are designed for you to choose yourself. And that does not mean to choose yourself does not mean you gotta reject anybody else. Take that in again. To choose yourself does not mean you have to reject someone else. Not all not always. Then we would never we would never get anywhere, would we? But all soul contracts are really designed for you to choose yourself, to heal that victim mentality, to heal what people call karma, to choose yourself and be your authentic self. And by the time we got through her reading and we talked about how she feels as her authentic self, and how after I'm explaining all this to her and she's saying, "Oh my goodness, I get that now. I get that. That's how I'm supposed to be everywhere I go. That how much would I feel successful and feel good about life period if I was that woman everywhere I go?" She said, I wouldn't I wouldn't feel anything, as in, like, she probably wouldn't need me anymore, which awesome, please, please. And I said, "Yeah, that is the point of soul contracts, is for you to truly meet who you are and choose yourself." And it could be out of struggle and pain, it could be out of trauma, it could be out of, um, love, those beautiful contracts that come in and say, "You know what? I'm gonna allow you to be whoever you are at any time and place." Oh my goodness. Those are beautiful contracts. So, because then we get to meet that person who is us, ourself. So we get through this, and I said, "Yeah, okay, you feel all that? You're taking all that in of how amazing of a life you're thinking you can have if you're just your authentic self all the time, all the time, not worrying about anything. You're just who you are." And she was, I mean, she was elated with this idea, just the idea of it. She was elated. And I said, "Yeah. Now imagine if every human did that. If every human gifted themselves the opportunity to know themselves completely, love themselves completely, trust themselves completely." Well, there you go. I don't see a world with war. I don't see a world with hunger. I don't see a world with strife and pain and trauma and any victimhood. I don't see any of that if all the humans stood within their authentic self. So, food for thought, because in 2026, as the illusions start breaking away even more so, they already start crumbling. 3D already started crumbling, right? It already did. But it's still under heavy weight. It's still under heaviness. And so, like, we're experiencing the heavy instead of noticing the crumbles. Hmm. But we're gonna notice more of the crumbling away. So are we gonna prepare for a bridge to fall? Are we gonna take personal responsibility for finding a new way and then showing other people, "Hey, you might not wanna take that bridge. There's a whole 'nother way we can do this. I've been building a bridge over here, I don't know what you've been doing, but I've been building this bridge over here. You can join me. We don't have to keep doing that. We don't have to then stay on one side of the bridge until they repair it. Hmm. I've been doing something different. Let's talk about weather for a minute, folks. Weather. Weather, weather, weather. As the flip of the poles, we are in the flip of the poles. The shift of the poles of this earth. We talk about it on the Edgar Casey series. Pay attention to the weather. The Akashic told me years ago, and I was supposed to bring it up, and then I brought it up. I finally brought it up last year. Especially if you do grow your own food, or you help others grow food, or even, heck, the farmers that feed us. Beloved farmers, thank you. It's going to get real tricky. I'm going to remind people more towards the season of the Northern Hemisphere. It's going to start getting tricky. What used to be like, okay, you sow your seeds, you tend, you harvest. What used to be, a 3-month time frame is going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. And it's going to appear that they're not doing much as far as the plants. They're not gonna get as high. The fruits are not gonna be as big, except maybe the engineered stuff, right? M but that is actually okay. What we have to get accustomed to is these shifts in weather that we follow into we will, beloveds, we will. We're just getting the precursor of it now. Of, okay, we're going to be seating indoors and then get these out to do like a 6-8 week run, right? Then we're going to flip those out, till everything, and put another 6 weeks in of something, and then another 6 weeks in. And beloveds, I have to tell you, when we finally start getting into the groove of that, no more of these 3-4 months periods. When we finally start getting into these 5, 6, maybe 8, depending on the crop growing seasons, with the flip of the poles, we will actually be able to produce more food that way. It'll look different, it'll feel different, it'll be different, but the earth will, once we start working with it, opposed to doing the same as we always did. When we start working with it, it will show us, okay, you're going to plant this, then you're going to plant that, then you're going to plant that, and we will not go without. Maybe a little bit in the harsh, harsh winter, but if you do it right, you'll be okay. But this world does not like to let go of the old. Before I go more into the weather, I'm going right back to the grand reset. So many people I hear talk about this reset, and they talk about it in so much fear. And the only thing that I've ever been really able to notice, I mean, I notice a whole lot of things, but really bringing it down to the root, people don't like change. People don't like change. They want it to be how it used to be. Listen to the words. They don't want change to happen. They want it to go as far back as they want it to go. They don't like change. That's it. They're scared of change. They're scared of who controls the change, what's going to happen with the change, fear of the unknown, yada, yada. They don't like change. The reset is already, we control it, by the way. We are the creators. We are the creators of all of this. The reset is not to rewind and go back. Why would we rewind a shitty movie? We're not doing that. We don't wanna do that. We don't wanna rewind. We wanna create a new. But like I said, there's gonna be a lot of people talking about that mid to late summer, the reset. Um, when you start hearing that, notice what they're really saying. They're fearful. They're fearful of things are gonna change. Things are changing. What's gonna happen? Fear of the unknown, the change. Just keep it as it is. Status quo. Status quo. At least I understand status quo. But here's the thing, beloveds, the earth herself is not gonna allow that to happen. The earth, her beautiful, powerful, wonderful self, regardless of politics, regardless of all the other humans, regardless of what we're doing, she would not allow that to happen. Change is upon us. And so we have to acknowledge what she is going through. Because we're connected to her, she's our beautiful bridge. She's our bridge that connects us to all things. So, she's our true bridge, not the illusion bridge. She's gonna be teaching us, so we have to pay attention. We have to pay attention more to her than all the changes that would be going on, the crumbling away, the new establishments, ba ba ba. We don't have to pay that no never mind because we're focused on the earth because you know what? She might change it up even later unexpectedly anyways. And then who cares about these new dogmas and paradigms and social norms? Because she might just change it up anyways. So we focus on her. She's going to teach us how to eat. She's going to teach us when the weather is shifting. Here's an example. So we moved into this location in North Georgia, the state of Georgia, North Georgia, September of 2018. And the first weekend that we moved in here, floods came through this area so bad. I mean, there were people that actually lost their lives. It was a very the weekend that we moved, it was wild. The following weekend, so this was September, I wake up in, like, sheer panic because I mean, my house sounds like grenades are just hitting it everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm thinking, okay, I mean, you wake out of bed and hearing this, and it's nonstop, just and of course, your first thought is like, oh, the world is ending. So I run to the front door, I open the front door, and I see this immense, huge flock of birds that come to my neighborhood, so I learned, at that time every September. And beloveds, my house is covered with walnut trees. These birds came into my trees and were knocking all the walnuts down, and they were hitting my house, and yeah, I thought the world was ending. So I stood there and I'm just watching these birds and I'm like, "Whoa, okay." And they did it the next September. "Okay, you like our neighborhood. Okay, we're your drop-in center while you're migrating." And I don't remember, I did look up what type of bird they are. They're these little black birds. I don't remember their name per se. Here's the point. For the first few years, they came every September, maybe a little bit into October, right? Maybe a little bit. And there sometimes would be one huge flock that comes. I mean, takes over whole yards, multiple yards, these guys. knocks down all of my acorns, or not walnuts, or acorns. I'm sorry, I said walnuts, acorns. So little acorns were just falling on my house. Over the years, it's shifted. Not September. Okay, a bit more into October. Okay, okay, that's still okay. Okay, now it's like um mid-October. Okay, okay. Last year they were real late. Last year they were closer to Halloween. I started going, where the hell are these birds? Because that one huge front flock will come, and then there's usually another one behind it that's smaller, maybe by a week or two. So this past year, those birds did not show up. The first flock that takes over the whole neighborhood did not show up until right about towards the beginning of November, or sorry, around Thanksgiving. That's all I'm gonna say. It was around Thanksgiving. That's late into November that first flock came in, and all the acorns, all the acorns are. I mean, it's kind of cool if they do knock down all the acorns, so then I can clean them up. Um, that was around Thanksgiving. That second flock that they're coming from the north. They're the last of the fleet. That second flock, that was Christmas morning. Christmas morning. Watch the birds. Watch all the animals. Let the earth teach you. Because this up and down weather that we have been experiencing, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. I mean, eventually it's going to be, yeah, we have 3 weeks of immense cold that we have not experienced in gracious a long time. And then all of a sudden, things think they're growing. Immense cold. Things think they should grow. The one concern right now. So this is definitely to those like Lucky Stone 888, all you beautiful bug people out there. The bugs are still adjusting, just like us humans. It's so fascinating that sometimes when you study and learn about bugs, they're more in relation to how we operate than any of the other animals that roam around or fly in the sky. The bugs are having a hard time with this. They will think it's time to come and do their thing, and then the freeze will take them out. And then they'll think it's time to come, do their thing, then the freeze will take them out. That is alarming, and that is something that we can all take responsibility within to help preserve those because they are a part of our ecosystem, and they are going to be just as confused as the humans for quite a while when other animals will become more adaptable faster. So we watch them to know what to do with ourselves and hopefully help some bugs. We can help them. We need them. So we will be talking about weather a lot through the Edgar Casey material. Understand that the poles are shifting and weather's going to be wild. More flooding, um, so much more flooding, so much more flooding, um, in preparation for a lot of things, especially in the areas that fires did what they did. So much more flooding will be happening. I'm just going to leave it as that. And just think of that. Lots of different water situations globally. Water situations globally. Okay. So, I am at the top of the hour, beloveds. And so, thank you, Infinity. Thank you, Lucky Stone 888, Earth Elements, Lori. Thank you all coming in to be with me. Happy New Year 2026. Beautiful opportunity. So these are just, I'm speaking for myself. 2026 is going to be fast. It's the year of the fire horse. I mean, it's gonna be fast and furious and whoa. So buckle up. Um, but like I said, if we notice what we're noticing, if we catch our thoughts, if we do our best to look past the lip service to what are they really saying while having compassion for ourselves and others, and periodically already having times set for personal alone time. Could be like hiking like Lucky does, could be coloring a picture, could be getting a massage, what I don't know, whatever you do for you, that's personal alone time, and have it set in stone. I usually don't ever say anything's set in stone or write anything in stone. I've been a firm believer for since high school to write everything in sand, not stone, so it can be washed away if need be. But in 2026, I do encourage people to, if you have to use your calendar on your phone, a paper calendar, whatever, fill it out. Fill it out this week, as in each month, you're marking at least a good 3 solid times, and I mean, like, give yourself some time, at least 3 opportunities a month in 2026 for some sincere, personal, alone, quality time with self. Because if it's not on the calendar, it's gonna be going so fast, it might not happen. And so that's a commitment you can make to yourself. Because if not, I mean, the potential of the whiplash in 2026 is is huge. I wanted to use the word paramount right then, and I held off, but I mean, it could be. Y'all, we could have some whiplash. So gift yourself the opportunity to mark it in stone right now that, no, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pause, and I'm just gonna let go. As this illusion breaks away and they try to present new illusion. This is my riddle. I'm going to hold an image up, and yes, it is of stick people. This is my riddle. The answer to this riddle will be on my next, whenever that happens, next Hangout with Courtney Q&A, ask me anything, just we're all hanging out. The answer to this riddle will be at the top of the hour when I do that, or the top of the show. I will be doing that. And this is so you all can ring my bell. Let's come together again. So I'm holding this up. Don't you love how I draw? Oh yeah, folks, that is me. My husband's the artist, not me. So that's a bridge. This is a riddle. It's a riddle about a bridge. All right. So you have a bridge. And on both sides of the bridge, I think there are like 2 big, scary robots that you're not allowed to cross this bridge. You're not allowed to cross the bridge. And on both sides, there are 2 big, scary robots that They might not harm you, but if they see you trying to cross the bridge, they're going to send you back from where you came. Now, here's the riddle part. You are not able to fly. You're not able to crawl. You're not able to climb. There's no way. There's no special equipment you can create. You don't have a Harry Potter invisible cloak. There's nothing of any sort of anything like that that you can use to get across this bridge. They will know. This is like AI of the AI of the AI. This is like top of the line robot. They will know if you're there. But you need to get to the other side of that bridge. You need to get to the other side of that bridge. For whatever reason. You need to go give somebody a loaf of bread. Whatever the reason is, which that's a pretty good reason, don't you think? You have to get over the other side of that bridge. And like I said, they might not, they're not going to gun you down. They're not going to laser you, right? But let's say you start walking, you're walking. About midway, one of them is going to say, hey, you need to go back. It's so hard to do this and hold it up at the same time. So you're walking. About midway on this bridge, no matter if you're in flight, below, invisible cloak, what have you, they will send you back from where you came. They will make you rewind. They will send you back from where you came. How do you get across the bridge? How do you get across the bridge? Because you need to get across that bridge. They will send you back. And you got your two guys. You're walking. Halfway through the bridge, this guy says, hey, you come back. How do you get across the bridge? That's the riddle. How do you get across the bridge? And I see that Shelly, Beautiful Seeker of Truth, just popped in. I am actually sounding off, dear. But still, thank you for coming. And the answer to this riddle, as you're thinking about it when you're driving to work, when you're thinking about when you're doing the dishes, when you're picking up dinner, when you are celebrating New Year's, how do you get across the bridge without being sent backwards, without being sent back? All right, beloveds. Happy New Year's. You will get the answer to this during my next Hangout with Courtney, Ask Me Anything episode sometime at the beginning of January. All right, everybody. I love you. Happy New Year. Have a great one. Cheers.